Subaru was walking home from a store when he suddenly found himself in another world. He talked to a fruit seller but then got attacked by some bad guys in a dark alley. A girl named Sawtella, who was half-elf, rescued him. He didn't know the language or history of the new place, but Sawtella and her friend Puck helped him. To repay their kindness, Subaru agreed to get Sawtella's stolen item back. They went to the place where it was being sold but found it closed, and sadly, they were killed there. But then something strange happened, and Subaru found himself back at the fruit stand again. He didn't know what was going on but decided to try again. This time he met the thief, Felt, and her friend, Rom. He convinced them to give back Sawtella's item by offering his cell phone. But a woman named Elsa killed them all, and Subaru was back at the fruit stand again. When he saw Sawtella again, he accidentally used the wrong name for her, which upset her. Sawtella appears to be upset when referred to as the jealous witch, prompting her to leave. Subaru tries to prevent Felt from stealing the insignia, but fails and is once again killed by the hoodlums in the alley. After resetting, Subaru recognizes his return by death ability and changes his approach, opting to buy the insignia from Felt before Elsa could interfere. Reinhardt rescues him from the hoodlums in the alley, and Subaru requests that he relay a message to Sawtella to avoid coming to the loot house. On his way there, Subaru encounters Elsa, who notices his strange behavior. Later, Subaru informs Felt about the phone's value based on Rom's appraisal in the previous timeline. Despite the confirmation, Felt remains hesitant to sell the insignia without first hearing Elsa's offer due to Subaru's suspicious behavior. Subaru becomes anxious when someone knocks on the door, fearing it could be Elsa. Instead, he is surprised to find Sawtella, whom he thought had been warned not to come to the house. Following the arrival of Sawtella, Elsa makes her appearance and initiates an attack. Sawtella and Puck use their ice magic teamwork to gain the advantage, but Puck is unable to continue manifesting in the physical world due to his mana crystal vessel limitations at night. Rom is gravely injured, and Sawtella is quickly losing energy while fighting Elsa. Felt is ordered to flee, and Reinhardt appears and learns that Elsa is a bowel hunter. While Reinhardt keeps Elsa distracted, Sawtella heals Rom's wounds. Reinhardt utilizes a sword technique to defeat Elsa, but she survives and attacks Sawtella. Subaru intervenes and uses Rom's club to take the hit meant for Sawtella. At Subaru's request, Sawtella reveals her real name as Emilia, but Subaru collapses after realizing he was slashed by Elsa, who manages to escape. Felt returns the insignia to Emilia in gratitude, and Reinhardt initially intends to release her. However, upon noticing the glittering insignia in her hand, he changes his mind and takes Felt with him. Reinhardt claims he can't ignore Felt's theft of the insignia, even though he is off duty, and warns Emilia that her peaceful life will not last long and that she may be summoned soon. Subaru awakens at Roswaal's estate, completely healed, and discovers that Emilia saved his life. After wandering the halls, he meets Beatrice in the library, but she drains his mana, causing him to lose consciousness. He regains consciousness in his bedroom, where he is greeted by the maid twins Ram and Rem. Subaru reunites with Emilia and Puck and learns from Roswaal that Emilia needs the insignia to qualify as a candidate for the next monarch in the upcoming royal election. As a reward, Subaru requests to work at the estate as a butler. During his first few days, he struggles with all of his duties while working alongside Ram and Rem. The trio visits a village to buy supplies, where Subaru interacts with some children and a puppy that bites him on the hand. Later that night, Subaru asks Emilia out on a date to the same village the following day, and she accepts. However, the next morning, Subaru wakes up in his bedroom with his hand healed, realizing that he must have died during the night. Subaru meets Rem and Ram again and attempts to retrace events from the previous timeline to discover how he died. However, he faces difficulties because of experiences he did not encounter before, like Ram teaching him to read and write. During his work, Subaru and Ram's relationship becomes closer, which appears to concern Rem. While shopping, Rem compares her loyalty to her sister Ram to that of a fanatical demon, and asks Subaru what he thinks of demons. As Rem and Ram are occupied, Emilia teaches Subaru how to read and write, and he asks her out again to visit the village, where he played with children, a puppy, and admired the flower fields. At night, Subaru tries to stay awake to reflect on his actions in the new timeline, but he falls asleep and wakes up feeling terribly ill in the middle of the night. As he struggles to walk down a hallway, an unknown attacker ambushes him and brutally kills him. Subaru wakes up again in his room, completely healed, and realizes that he has 4 days before the attacker strikes again. He decides to act like a guest in Roswaal's mansion, asking Beatrice if she knows of any magic that can weaken and kill. She suggests 2 possible causes, a curse or the draining of mana, which she thinks only she and Puck can do. She also tells him that she healed him when he first arrived at the mansion. Subaru talks to Ram and shares a folktale about 2 demons, a blue one and a red one. Ram thinks that they were both foolish, and Subaru disagrees about the message of the story. He also tells Ram about the legends of the dragon and the kingdom, and the story of the jealous witch, which Ram refuses to talk about. Ram advises him not to share his demon story with Rem. On the 4th day, Subaru decides to observe the mansion from a nearby cliff. Suddenly, he is attacked by a heavy spiked ball and chain at sunset. He manages to dodge the first 2 impacts and grabs the chain of the attacker, who turns out to be Rem, shocking him. In the mansion, Rem interrogates Subaru, believing that he is affiliated with a group that opposes Emilia. She accuses him of having the scent of a witch and proceeds to torture him until Ram interrupts and kills her. After resetting, Subaru encounters Ram and Rem once again, and attempts to confess his return by death ability to Emilia, but is interrupted by a dark force that overcomes him. Days later, Beatrice informs Subaru that he has the scent of the witch on him, but he strikes a deal with her for protection on the 4th night. He manages to survive the night but discovers that Rem has been killed, leading Rem to suspect Subaru and try to attack him. However, Beatrice comes to his rescue because of their agreement, and Subaru escapes with her to a cliff. At the cliff, Beatrice reveals that the maid twins are incomplete, and offers to help Subaru escape. Ram arrives and vows to kill Subaru, but he decides to sacrifice himself by jumping off the cliff, believing that his fear and hesitation have caused harm to the mansion's inhabitants. He declares that he will find a way to save them all before dying. Subaru wakes up again and decides to regain the trust of the twin maids by asking to work as a butler once more. While taking a break, he turns to Puck for help in defeating the mysterious shaman behind the scenes. Puck analyzes Subaru's mana and discovers that his attribute is Shadow. Subaru learns from Beatrice about the jealous witch, Sotella, and deduces that Emilia's initial desire was to be excluded from the royal election. Despite struggling to utilize magic during his training, Subaru continues to work hard as a butler to gain the trust of the maids. Exhausted, he falls asleep on Emilia's lap and wakes up in the middle of the night. He asks Beatrice about curses and discovers that they require physical contact to be activated. Excited by this information, Subaru deduces that the curse came from the village. The next day, he convinces the twin maids to accompany him to the village. Subaru goes with Ram and Rem to the village to find out who is behind the recent attacks. While they are there, the puppy bites Subaru again. When they return, Roswaal leaves for the night, which is different from before. Beatrice confirms that Subaru is cursed, and it's from the puppy that bit him. Subaru realizes that the children are in danger, and they head back to the village with Rem. They find that the children have gone missing and only one child is left. They discover that the missing children have all been bitten by the puppy. While Rem heals the children, Subaru tells her he knows about his witch stench and goes to find the last child. However, he gets attacked by a demon beast. He defeats it, but more demon beasts controlled by the demon puppy surround him. Rem arrives and tries to help, but the demon beasts are too many. She goes berserk and is about to be killed, so Subaru stands in to protect her. Subaru survives the attack with the help of Emilia and Ram. The village barrier is fixed to keep it safe from demon beasts, but Subaru is cursed from the bites he received, and Beatrice can't remove them all in time. The villagers give Subaru a sword to kill the puppy controlling the demon beasts, lift the curses, and find Rem. Ram tells Subaru she's not as strong as Rem, which disappoints him. Subaru tries to lure the demon beasts by telling them about his return by death ability. They chase Subaru and Ram, and the two fall off a cliff where they find a berserk Rem and a pack of demon beasts. Ram tells Subaru how to help Rem by hitting her demon horn to bring her back to her senses. In the past, Ram and Rem lived in a demon village where people did not like twins. Ram was very talented, but Rem had a hard time. One day, the witch cult cut off Ram's horn, and Rem felt bad about it ever since. Now in the present, Rem wakes up after Subaru knocks her out. They run away from the scary animals, but then they find the person who made the animals attack. To save the twins, Subaru stays behind to fight the person, who turns into a dangerous monster. Subaru tries to hurt the person with his sword, but it does not work. Roswaal shows up and beats the bad guy and the animals. This also takes away the bad things that happened to Subaru. Later, Subaru wakes up with Rem in the room. He tells her to be happy and not to worry about the past. She starts to like him. That night, Subaru asks Emilia out on a date to go to the village the next day, and she agrees. A week after the demon beast attack, Subaru and Emilia come back from a trip with some village kids. Later, they go to the capital with Wilhelm and Felix. While there, Subaru gets jealous when he sees Julius kiss Emilia's hand. He also sees a girl named Priscilla being chased by some bad guys who killed him in past experiences. He tries to save her, but the bad guys run away when Ron shows up. Later, Emilia tells Subaru not to go with her to a castle where some people are gathering for a royal election. But Subaru doesn't listen and goes with Priscilla instead. At the castle, Emilia is surprised to see Subaru with Priscilla, who calls him her servant. Reinhardt introduces Felt as the fifth candidate, much to everyone's surprise. The rich citizens are surprised that Felt comes from a poor area, and this causes issues between them and the Imperial Knights. Felt says she won't join the election and gets into a fight with the other candidates. When Emilia is criticized for being half-elf, Subaru says he is her knight, but this makes the Knights of Lugunica angry, especially Julius. Rom tries to take Felt away, but fails, and Felt agrees to join the election in order to save Rom's life. She then threatens to destroy the kingdom when she wins. Julius challenges Subaru to a sword fight because of his insult to the Imperial Knights, and Julius easily wins. Subaru wakes up to find out that Emilia wants him to stay in the capital to heal, but he refuses. Emilia asks Subaru why he is helping her so much, but Subaru cannot explain his ability or the past timelines. Emilia believes that she is not worthy of happiness because she is half-elf, which makes Subaru lose his mind and he starts saying mean things to her. They cannot understand each other anymore, and Emilia decides to end their friendship. 3 days after the royal candidate selection, Subaru and Rem are staying at Karsten Mansion to recover. Subaru is upset about his weakness and trains relentlessly with Wilhelm, but makes little progress. Reinhardt apologizes to Subaru and urges him to make peace with Julius, but Subaru declines. While in town, Kadam, the vendor, tells them that people won't support Emilia for the royal election due to her connection with the jealous witch. At night, Krush advises Subaru to be more positive, and Felix suggests reconciling with Emilia. Rem reveals that something is happening at Mather's domain through her connection with Ram. Subaru and Rem decide to return to Roswaal's mansion, but Rem leaves alone at night to protect Subaru. Upon discovering this, Subaru hires a cart driver named Otto Suwon to take him to the mansion, but the ground dragon refuses to continue at nightfall. Subaru continues on foot and encounters a group of dark-robed and hooded figures who surround him before vanishing. At dawn, he arrives at the Arlim village and finds corpses scattered around. When he reaches the mansion, he is devastated to find Rem's lifeless body. Subaru arrives at the mansion to find it filled with corpses, including those of Ram and the children he previously saved. After exploring the mansion, he finds himself in a freezing room where he ultimately succumbs to the cold and dies. However, he wakes up in a new timeline back at the vendor's stall, where he embraces Rem, and then falls into a catatonic state. Although Krush and Felix are able to treat his physical injuries, they cannot help with his mental state. Subaru and Rem begin their journey back home, but are attacked by the witch cult on the way. While Rem fights them, one of the cultists takes an unconscious Subaru with him. The cult's leader, Petalgus Romani Conti, accuses Subaru of faking his madness and tortures Rem when she attempts to save him. Rem dies in Subaru's arms, telling him to live and expressing her love for him before passing away. Subaru carries her body to the mansion, encountering piles of corpses on his way. At the mansion, he finds Ram dead and a monstrous puck waiting for him outside, who tells him to sleep and kills him by decapitation. Subaru returns to the vendor's stall again, enraged by Petalgus's actions. After learning that Petalgus's cult plans to attack the mansion and village in 3 days, Subaru seeks assistance from the other royal candidates. He first appeals to Krush for help, but she declines, seeing no benefit in rescuing her opponent Emilia and considering Subaru to be driven by anger and madness. Next, he turns to Priscilla and is humorously asked to lick her foot, which he does not realize is a joke. Priscilla then kicks him viciously and scolds him for not showing enough loyalty and dedication to Emilia. Subaru then encounters Anastasia and tries to negotiate with her, but he ends up being tricked into giving away information about Krush. Anastasia walks away, making it clear that comprehending what the other party wants is the key to successful negotiation. Realizing that none of the other candidates will assist him, Subaru decides to evacuate everyone from the mansion and village, along with Rem. While on their way back, Otto's wagon is engulfed in fog, and they come across the white whale that had caused him to take a detour during the previous timeline. Subaru notices that one of the merchants accompanying them has vanished, but Otto has no recollection of him. As the white whale approaches, Rem decides to stop it, knocking out Subaru so he can escape with Otto. When Subaru wakes up, Otto claims to have no memory of Rem. The white whale is still chasing them, but Subaru realizes it's a demon beast that's attracted to him. Otto then pushes him off the wagon, causing him to almost die. Subaru later finds Otto's wagon and is taken the rest of the way on a ground dragon. The villagers find him collapsed, and he wakes up healed in the mansion alongside Ram. When he tells Ram and Emilia about Rem, they both have no memory of her. Furious, Subaru decides to tell Emilia about his return by death, but as he does so, everything goes dark, and Emilia dies in his arms. Beatrice saves him and teleports him and Emilia out of the mansion. Petalgus and his cult appear, but the monstrous Puck intervenes, demanding to know what they plan to do to his daughter. The monstrous Puck obliterates Petalgus and his cult, then punishes Subaru by freezing him to death for his failure to save Emilia, robbing Puck of his purpose. In utter despair, Subaru resets back to the vendor's stall. Rem notices an abrupt shift in his demeanor, and Subaru pulls her aside. He implores her to flee with him, but she declines, stating that she would only do so with the Subaru she knows, not his current iteration. He berates himself for his wasted life and his incapacity to aid those he cherishes, but Rem declares her love for him despite knowing that his heart belongs to Emilia. Through Rem's unwavering faith in him, Subaru overcomes his grief and hopelessness. Renewed with resolve, he resolves to become a hero, wanting to start anew from scratch. In the fresh timeline, Subaru decides to take a different approach by defeating the white whale before tackling the witch's cult. Based on his experience from the previous timeline, Subaru proposes an alliance to Crush's camp to fight against the White Whale, and shares the mining rights of magic stones in Roswaal's territory. Using his cell phone, Subaru shows the time and location of the impending attack and offers to lure the whale towards himself. Anastasia's camp also agrees to join the campaign, as the presence of the whale poses a threat to their interests. Subaru's ability to gather support impresses Krush, and Wilhelm reveals that his wife, Lerja, the Sword Saint, was killed by the white whale created by the jealous witch, which has motivated him to defeat it. The next day, Subaru and Rem ride on a ground dragon called Patrash, leading the armies of the Krush, and Anastasia camps to the Flugel tree to wait for the arrival of the whale. That night, the whale appears exactly when Subaru predicted, and the battle ensues. The confrontation with the white whale commences as the night sky is illuminated by the Night Banisher, creating a temporary daytime appearance. Subaru and Rem lure the whale towards them while the armies of Krush and Anastasia launch an attack on the beast. Meanwhile, Wilhelm attempts to bring the whale down with his close-range slashes. However, the creature remains afloat, and it releases a mist from its glands on the skin. Subaru and Rem avoid the fog blast, and Subaru realizes that it's a fog of elimination that can erase a person's existence. The armies suffer significant losses, and Subaru attracts the whale towards himself by calling out his return by death ability to keep the injured soldiers out of harm's way. Ricardo's unit and Wilhelm pursue Subaru and continue to attack the whale relentlessly, but they face setbacks when Wilhelm is swallowed by the whale and Ricardo is severely injured. Eventually, as the fog dissipates, 3 whales emerge, floating in the sky. As the battle continues, the armies begin to lose morale at the sight of 3 whales. While accompanying Krush and observing the 2 whales attacking their forces, Subaru notices a glaring difference in their strength, and a distinct wound on the left eye of all 3 whales. He deduces that 2 of them are duplicates of the 3rd whale that remains at a safe distance, and that defeating the original one is their key to victory. In an attempt to lure the whale closer to the ground, Rem launches Subaru towards it on an ice shard. Subaru taunts the whale and then plunges towards the ground, relying on his witch's scent to attract it towards him and the Flugel tree. Rem catches Subaru, and the armies combine their efforts to cut the base of the tree using magic and explosives, causing it to fall onto the passing whale. With the whale immobilized under the tree, Wilhelm furiously slashes at it, avenging Lerja's death and causing the other 2 duplicates to disappear. Now that the whale is defeated, Subaru shifts his focus to his original objective of rescuing Emilia and the villagers from the witch's cult. In recognition of his bravery, the Krush and Anastasia armies offer him some soldiers and knights to help him eliminate the cult, which includes Wilhelm, Felix, and the Pearlbatten siblings. Meanwhile, the injured and weak, including Rem, head back. Anastasia's mercenaries also offer additional reinforcements, but Subaru is shocked to find Julius among them. Following a heated exchange of insults with Julius, Subaru makes amends with him to some extent. Subaru commences his assault on the witch's cult by utilizing his witch's stench to approach Petalgoose, tricking him into believing that Subaru is the Archbishop of Pride. When Petalgoose realizes that Subaru doesn't possess the gospel he should have received as an archbishop, which Petalgoose claims he desecrated, Petalgoose completely loses his composure. Seizing the opportunity, Mimi and Tivy launch a surprise attack to demolish the hideout, and Wilhelm slays Petalgoose while the remaining members of the cult pursue Petalgoose's 10 disciples, or fingers. However, one of the fingers is still inhabited by Petalgoose's soul, who launches an attack using unseen hands to kill several members of the group and capture Subaru. Thankfully, the finger is distracted by a small spirit and Wilhelm eliminates her, freeing Subaru. Subaru is troubled by his grave mistake, which led to the loss of soldiers, but Wilhelm encourages him to keep fighting. Meanwhile, Otto and his merchant guild ride to evacuate the mansion and the village, and Felix advises Subaru to reconcile with Julius. As Subaru approaches Julius, he suddenly finds himself alone on the road enveloped in a blue haze, and Ram appears mysteriously on a cliff above, holding a radiant blue flower. Subaru finds himself engulfed in a blue haze, and as he stumbles forward, he's assaulted by vines. However, the small spirit named Law intervenes, the same spirit that Julius had ordered to protect Subaru from harm. With the assistance of Julius, the remaining soldiers and merchants are freed from the spell. Ram then mistakes Subaru for deserting Emilia, but the confusion is resolved, and Subaru starts the evacuation of the villagers. Despite their distrust of him and Emilia, Ram persuades them to flee. During the escape, Felix discovers a cult member who detonates himself, leaving Subaru unconscious. When he awakens, he discovers that the village is being attacked by the witch's cult, and the Archbishop of Sloth can transfer his power to other fingers, many of whom are among the merchants. Emilia arrives on the scene and defeats the last finger. After the battle, Law abruptly departs from Subaru, leaving him anxious, and he flees into the woods. Felix and Julius follow him, but to their surprise, Petalgoose possesses Subaru's body. Subaru struggles against the control of Petalgoose, but ultimately asks Julius and Felix to kill him. They reluctantly agree, and Julius deals the fatal blow as Emilia, back in the village, hears a commotion in the distance. Upon his unexpected revival, Subaru devises a new strategy to defeat the witch's cult by targeting the fingers first, before confronting Petalgoose himself. Wilhelm arrives at the mansion to clear up the confusion, and orders the village's evacuation. Wearing a cloak to remain incognito, Subaru arrives at Emilia's side to warn her of an impending attack and persuade her to evacuate. Knowing that the cult has spies among the merchants, Subaru hands out evacuation plans that are 2 hours behind schedule, allowing the spies to be caught. Subaru infiltrates Petalgoose's hideout, and offers to join the cult and become a new vessel. When asked to produce his gospel, Subaru shows the loot he obtained from the spy to initiate a surprise attack. As he flees from Petalgoose and his remaining fingers, Mimi and Tivy arrive to take them out. Subaru leads Petalgoose to the cliff's edge, where he had jumped off in a previous timeline. Julius appears and joins the battle, aided by Subaru's ability to perceive the unseen hands. Julius engages in a fierce battle with Petalgoose, utilizing his spirit arts to perceive the unseen hands through Subaru's eyes. Petalgoose attempts to once again seize control of Subaru's body, but this time Subaru speaks out his return by death to have Petalgoose come in contact with the spirit of Sautella. Petalgoose is rejected by the witch, causing him to lose control over Subaru and leading to his eventual demise. Upon returning to the main group, Subaru discovers that Emilia and the children are in danger as explosives are stowed in their wagon. Otto volunteers to help Subaru reach Emilia in time to save her. However, Petalgoose unexpectedly returns, held together by the unseen hands. Subaru uses Julius' spirit to set Petalgoose on fire, and then writes the end in his gospel book, finally bringing an end to Petalgoose's terror. Subaru manages to reach Emilia's wagon just in time to find the explosives hidden beneath the floorboards. He carries them on Patrash and throws them into the carcass of the white whale at the base of the flugel tree. The massive explosion renders Subaru unconscious, but he is shielded by his dragon. Hours later, Subaru wakes up in Emilia's embrace and confesses his love for her. Emilia, moved to tears, thanks Subaru for saving her life. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.